There's something very cool about taking items that you absolutely love, but you don't really want to wear anymore, and just repurposing it. Please welcome Julia Grieve, founder of Pre-Loved.
Thank you.
A company that is so brilliant and really ahead of its time, because you all were doing this sort of recycle and reuse situation before it was in style.
Oh yeah, I mean, we've had the company now for 20 years.
Wow.
I always say I started when I was 5.
Of course.
Don't get any crazy ideas here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, recycling before it was anyone even knew what it was.
Right.
But it's just, it's a love that I've always had, and
I think it's very in style right now as well. Like, there's something about having that very unique piece, and the thing about the pieces at Pre-Loved is that everything is an individual piece. You're using different fabrics all the time, so everything's one of a kind. So you can actually go into your closet and you can be thinking, oh my gosh, I got to get rid of these sweaters.
Well, that's what happens, especially this time of year. You're looking up at your closet, you're like, oh my God, there's so much stuff here, I don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
Change of season, going through, sweaters take up a lot of room in the closet.
They do.
And I think that people don't realize that they're great fabric, like 100% wool is a wonderful fabric to use. So if it's not working as a sweater, if it's one of those sweaters that maybe, your husband shrunk while trying to help out with the laundry.
I have a few of those.
Yeah, I do too. So that kind of thing, don't throw them out.
Right.
Do not get these sweaters, do not have them end up in landfill. It's awful. What you can do is they turned into wonderful pieces of fabric. Think of it as fabric instead.
Really
Update
good.
your craft box. So, you go through the sweaters, you see them, you pick the ones that you like, ones that you're going to wear, ones that you're not going to wear. The ones you're not going to wear, let's pull them out and figure some fun things that we can do.
So one thing that you can do is actually make it into a scarf. So
Yes.
just take a look at what you can do here. This is so individual, and it's almost that whole idea of quilting, but you're doing it for clothing.
Exactly. It's
You've got all
very
these different
easy.
pieces of sweater, and it feels so good.
It is, and each piece means something to you, right?
That's
you see
right.
that sweater you got one year as a gift, you see this, whatever.
Right.
And it's simple. I always say, Tracy, this is the easiest one to make. I mean,
Okay.
to make a scarf, basically what you're going to need is a pattern,
Yep.
aka a square.
Yep.
And you basically are going to lay it down onto your sweaters. Before you start, I would always, just to get so that your final product looks fantastic, is pick 3 to 4 sweaters that look good together. Color block them ahead of time.
That's right. You might want to pick similar patterns or color family, whatever you're looking for.
Sort of nice,
Textures.
And then so you've picked your sort of pile that will look great together, right? So you're like, oh, that's going to look really nice. Let's
Yeah,
make a
that's
sweat.
lovely.
Let's make a scarf out of that. Then you take your handy dandy pattern and you put it on the sweater. A great tip is to put it on the side seam of the sweater, because when you do that, when you open up the sweater, it's a much bigger piece, as opposed to having to cut a long piece in the sweater. You're
Right.
less cutting. So we cut on the side, cut on the side seam, open up, and then this is what it will look like. Just keep cutting. I'd say probably about 10 to 11 pieces to make a long scarf, which is what will look nice.
So 10 to 11 pieces. You've got all of your pieces together.
Yes.
And then here is the best thing I read about Julia before I came here. She doesn't sew.
I don't know how to sew.
So she has been doing
Trace,
all
don't
the
tell
fact.
me.
I'm
You're
telling
giving
you
them
all.
away.
I'm putting you on blast, girl, because honestly, I read that and I'm like, I love her even more.
I know.
So you will basically take all of these different pieces of fabric and you'll say, this is how I want it to look.
Exactly. And you know where you can take that? You can take it to a dry cleaner.
I
You
love
can take
you.
it to a great friend, a mother-in-law, someone who's
Yes.
got it. But the other thing with the scarf, is what I was saying, is that it's so simple. I get my kids to make these. And you can
nice.
attach it by needle and thread. It doesn't have to be put together by a sewing machine.
That's right.
So once you've got your pieces cut, then you'll end up putting it together. And this is sort of what it starts to look like. That's
look
the
at
inside.
that.
So you sew it up, and then you just keep adding the pieces on as you go on.
Very
Then when you're
nice.
done, you're going to close it this way, inside out, right?
Yeah.
Stitch along there.
So we'll just hold that up so
Yes.
they can see. So it's starting to
stitch
look like a
that,
scarf now.
And then you would turn it inside out, and then the right pretty colors will be on the right side.
And then you have your gorgeous
There,
scarf.
and that's a scarf.
Beautiful, beautiful gifts for folks. But
Absolutely.
a beautiful item for yourself, and then you've got all those
Absolutely.
pieces, even scarves from your kids that they've grown out of.
You know, it's
really
great.
beautiful.
And this again, this is the easy one is a great activity with the kids. My guys will
Right.
sit and cut squares for hours.
Okay,
They
so
love
we've
it.
done scarves. Let's move up a little bit in terms of skill level, and
Okay.
let's do some mittens.
The mittens are great. Now, a
at
mitten you
these.
can make as simple as you want. You
Right.
literally could just trace your hand onto a piece of paper, use that as a pattern, and slap it on a sweater.
Yes.
That's a little boring.
Okay.
Let's take it up a notch.
Let's
from
make
there.
it a little fancier
Let's make
than
it a
that.
bit more. So what we do is we make a pattern that has sort of 3 to 4 pieces in it. So you can start to see here. You've got thumb, you've got the inside of the thumb. So you've got these extra pieces. This would be the back of it. And again,
Okay.
you're going to lie it on a sweater. But what I would do is put, this pattern piece on this sweater, find one of the nice matching sweaters, and then put the other.
Oh, right.
Right? Because you want to get
So
texture.
each piece of the glove is going to be
Correct.
a different piece of fabric.
Yes.
So you've got them all put together, and they all sort of mix and match
so
together.
that they're
but-
not just sort of boring, right? You want to
Yeah.
make this look sort of different. And then here's sort of like a getting it done piece. So you've got your pieces cut. That would be starting like that.
piece number one.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then you can throw, this would be coming on the back.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
And you know that you've got that good quality material that's going to keep your hands warm.
That is what it
because
is.
this is the
Oh,
stuff
and you know
that's
another little
on your
tip,
sweater.
if your sweaters weren't shrunken, shrink them if you're going to make mitts out of them. You realize
right.
you're not wearing, once that wool gets shrunken and tight,
Yes.
really good for mitts.
Even warmer.
Yes.
Okay, well, I love that.